No. Gracias. You can write this in the
Yeah.
So if you write
It's not the same.
it's not,
We're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm Amanda. Lee is the executive director. I'm helping Lee run this storytelling program. So thanks for coming. We hope you all continue to be interested in the event because we think it's going to be fun. This is Sheila Clary. She has led workshops before. She helps coach people for storytelling. She's very experienced in this, and she's excited to be working with some LitNet learners to do this event.
she's a LitNet tutor.
And she's a LitNet tutor. Yeah, do you want to take it away, Sheila?
Sure. So that you can be in camera or.
I don't like the camera.
No,
Thank you.
Neither do I. Okay, so my name is Sheila, and I teach storytelling. I teach at various places. I've taught currently I have a class in Housatonic, and I also run live storytelling events where people can come and tell their own true story. Have you heard of The Moth? Yeah, so The Moth. The Moth is a storytelling podcast, which was my entree, my way into storytelling. You can put your name, you can, oh God, I thought your coffee spilled. Oh, sorry. So for storytelling events, the way I got into it was I went to New York. I went to a bar where they had an event. You put your name in a hat and they take out 10 names. That night there was 30 names and my name was number 9. So I got to tell my story. And the theme of the night was rescue. Rescue. How do you say that in Spanish? Rescate. Okay, rescate was the theme for the night. Okay, so I told a story about my rescate. And I won. It was a competition. It was very exciting. I didn't know it was a competition, and then I won. So I got addicted to storytelling after that. And I wanted to teach. I'm not very good at it. I'm not an expert. I'm a good teacher. I'm not a good storyteller. I'm learning. I am a student of storytelling. I'm not an expert. I've had a good story, but I'm not a very good storyteller. So it takes a lot of practice, and it's a wonderful opportunity to think about our own lives in a way that we wouldn't have a chance to think about our lives otherwise. Because how long would a good story be? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? How many minutes do you think? 5 minutes. That's not very long. My story was 5 minutes long. So you have to tell, here's your life, and you're telling one tiny little part of your life, right? Yes. Yeah.
Sí, un poco. Un 70%. Y esta puede ser. Ella está hablando aquí. Ella ganó una competición. De no, como, what is a podcast, right?
Yeah. So
Ella fue a Nueva York. Ella fue a Nueva York y compitió en un lugar. Se llama Russia. Y ella fue número 9 y ganó. Pero ella no es buena. What is the mob?
it's a podcast. So just let him know that afterward, this recording will be available in Spanish. So he can watch the whole thing and with subtitles in Spanish.
I have a question.
Yes.
I was listening to the rock yesterday because I listen to it every week.
See.
And then I went online because I thought, do they ever have a storytelling event where the storytellers speak Spanish? And I found just advertisements for an event in LA.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find a YouTube video of it or anything.
No, so not all the events are recorded and none of them are put on YouTube. I don't think. I mean, my story you can't find on, they only take like one fraction of the stories they have on their podcast.
Okay, but I just was wondering whether they ever do it in other languages.
Yeah.
I thought for Bernardo would give him a.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
another one.
I will,
Understand
yeah.
without ever going through the translation
yes, yeah, good idea. I will, I will find some stories in Spanish.
Yeah, there is one.
Okay. Well, I will make sure that there are, I can share the stories later.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, but so I would like for us to practice, to warm up, to practice with speaking out loud. So an easy way into that is an exercise I do with my students where you stand up and you talk for 2 minutes about a person in your life. Okay? A person, any person, it could be your mother, it could be someone you met one time, but they are important to you. It can be anyone. So you talk for 2 minutes about a person in your life, and your job is to help us see the person. You understand?
Ella dice que vamos a hablar acerca de una persona en tu vida por 2 minutos y la idea es que las personas hagan como una idea imaginaria de esa persona de la que vamos a hablar durante 2 minutos, una persona que
Para ese día.
ahorita,
No, para
ahorita, usted, tu mamá, tu hijo, alguien de tu vida que
Yeah, in Spanish is fine today, yeah.
It's fine.
You no, in English, but he can tell a story in Spanish, yeah.
puedes hablar en español.
You guys will do English
Yeah.
and Bernardo can do Spanish for today.
Yes.
Not
Okay.
in Spanish for you to practice.
So I will go first, sort of show you how it is, and then someone can time me. After 2 minutes, done. You cannot go over 2 minutes. It's very easy to just and so it's good to have a time limit. And then we'll just, whoever wants to go next can go next. Okay.
Es para hablar sobre alguna persona.
Sí, ahorita. Ya.
O sea, vamos a practicar.
No de nosotros, sino de.
No, de alguien.
Sí.
Tu mamá,
You can only
alguien,
talk about yourself.
alguien importante en tu vida.
The idea is to talk about another person for this
Oh, yeah.
exercise. Yeah, to speak about another, to describe another person. You'll see. I'm going to do an example, okay? Okay. Would you time me? Just press start. Okay. My father was very short. He was about my height, a little shorter when he got older. And he was pretty fat. If he walked into a room, you might not notice him. He was not very noticeable. However, if he opened his mouth, you noticed him. If he talked, you noticed him. He was a law professor, and he would have for his work, he would have a room full of 500, 1,000, 2,000 lawyers or students, and he could talk in such a way, all of them were listening. He could talk for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and they were listening to him. He was very good at keeping people's attention because he was very smart and he knew a lot of information. He was also very funny. He knew how to make jokes. He knew the perfect time to make the jokes. And so he was a wonderful, wonderful teacher. However, he also had a terrible, terrible temper. And he would get very, very angry. And when I was a little girl in the house and he yelled, I thought the ceiling would explode because his voice was so powerful. I was very scared of him. So, I have 30 seconds left. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. So he was a complicated man, a very complicated man. And I respected him and learned a lot from him. And he also gave me the gift he gave me was my sense of humor and the ability to laugh at myself and at everything. but he also, he was also a very angry person. So there's this complicated, he passed away 10 years ago. He died 10 years ago. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Usually I just say wrap it up, which means like take a few seconds to just come to, no. I didn't tell you to do that. No, I'm just saying for other people that you don't have to immediately stop. You can finish your sentence. Okay. So that was I haven't had my coffee this morning, so that was not a very good example. Okay. But that gives you an idea. Yes. So would anyone like to go first to tell us about someone in their life? Describe someone in their life?
If you need.
Okay. Do you want to try Leslie? Leslie's ready. Okay, here you go, Leslie. Here, I'll. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right. Go.
I want to tell us about my grandma because she's the most important person in my life. She has the mind saying highest, similar my body. She's 76 years old. Sometimes she come here to visit me. I am so happy because she's the most important people in my life. When I have my hard times, and I remember I was sleeping in my bed, and I feel her hook, but she knows here, like just in my mind. But was a stranger because I feel like a real hook. I started crying, and when I opened my eyes, I said, "Oh my God, it was a dream." And I called her, and she told me, "I pray a lot for you sometimes. When you are alone, you feel you can tell someone if you don't have a lot of truth, but if someone told about you, this person pray about you, and you can feel this person close to you. It's like I believe a lot of in good connection people." And she is the most important person in my life because when I was a child, I sleep with her. And when we are a child, the people say you go to under your blankets because the monster come for you. and when I afraid, and I go to sleep with her, and I say I can't sleep with you, and I feel like she's my hero. And when I was a child too, and I sleep very, very good. And the other things she gives to me in my life is saving money. That is so important to me too.
2 minutes, so just wrap it up. That's 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's hard. Yeah. Wonderful.
But I was a little nervous.
I feel like I know your grandmother.
Yes. And so that was really good. I'm listening carefully, and it's very easy to repeat ourselves in our stories, right? And everyone does this. I did it too. Everybody. So that's what practice. If you tell this story today and you practiced it again and you practiced it again, you do not repeat yourself anymore, right?
Yeah.
But what did you notice about the detail? Do you understand the word detail? Detalle. Detalle. In Spanish, what detail do you remember from her story?
Cuddling up under the blanket.
Yes, exactly.
Under the blanket.
Under the blanket, cuddling up under the, and yes, the hug.
You did this
Yeah.
too.
Yes,
That sense of warmth that she
Yes.
conveyed. I'm dropping everything.
yes, and the monster under the bed. So those are details that help us. Oh, okay, we understand. If you say, Leslie, my grandmother's the most important person in my life. Okay, that's a good starting place, but it doesn't tell us anything. Do you understand? You need to show us.
Yeah. Like I know when I was talking,
Yeah,
I repeat a lot of time this
Yes,
sentence,
because-
but I was nervous.
of course.
And I feel like like my voice, like I will cry, but really no, and in mine's like shaking
Yes.
everything. But
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Nervous.
No, you
No.
didn't.
I know, but my first
You did a wonderful job for your first experience. Really good.
She didn't say, and.
No, exactly. But yeah. Everybody see, yes, we're going to, after everyone goes, or whoever wants to tell a story, I'm going to play a story for you, from The Moth, which reminds me of, good morning. Hi, Milagro. Sheila.
Sheila.
Nice to meet you. We are doing an exercise where people are telling a 2-minute story about someone in their life. They are describing a person who is important to them. Okay, so you can just watch and then participate if you want. Okay, Carol, do you want to go next?
Okay.
You don't have to.
No, I just gonna say I have very bad sores in my mouth.
Oh, yeah, you do
So
some
if
talk.
if you can't hear me, it's just tell me because
Okay.
I'm protecting my mouth.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
go.
I'm gonna talk about my grandmother also. She was very short and her husband was very tall. She had hair down to here and she wore it up on the top of her head and she was so powerful in the family. She was the locomotive that ran the family. She had 5 children and 21 grandchildren. And I was number 11. And I was named after her. So she noticed me, even though I was one of the shyest grandchildren. I was so shy that I just didn't talk a lot of the time. And she always noticed me and always made me feel like I was important. And she was not the kind of grandmother that took me in her bed or even hugged me.
Oh.
But she made me feel very loved. And I made a point of trying to visit her often, even though she didn't live near me. I would drive as a teenager or as a college student and a young adult. And I would always get there for tea because she had tea at 4 o'clock, a very proper lady. And we would have tea and Pepperidge Farm cookies. And it happened every single day, no matter what. And she would tell me anything about the books she was reading, about her life. And yet I never, ever remember her talking about religion or politics. So perhaps that was just her way of not arguing. Because she was very powerful.
That's 2 minutes. You're very precise. You're repeating for 2 minutes.
I knew I was coming to the end.
Nice, very good. So the, what is a detail that was important from her story? What was one of the important details?
She felt she was loved.
Her height, her hair, she felt loved. For me, it was the tea at 4 o'clock with cookies. That was the most important. And so because you said that, I was wondering, I'm wondering what was her background? Was she English? I thought she was English, but you didn't say that.
Yes.
She was, okay. So that kind of background would have helped flesh her out a little bit, you know? Like you could have started the story. My grandmother was born in Scotland, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, but she was Scottish and carried on Scottish traditions or whatever.
yeah, she
Yeah.
very-
Yes, I see. So that would have
I
helped.
could have,
Oh,
which is Ramsay's. That's
Oh,
Scottish.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all our first take, but that's obviously a good vein of a story for you. Yeah. Thank you. That was great. Okay. Who would like to go next? Milton translating words over there. Jesse, do you want to go?
First of all, can I say first of all, the first time I thought of the lady I lived with.
Is this your story? Are you starting the story?
I'm
No.
Just thinking.
This is it.
No,
You're thinking in a loud voice.
I thought of, I want to talk about the lady I live with. Then, oh, by my word,
No.
mother is only an interesting story. And then I said, what about my mother? and all of them are related, I think.
Okay.
I had a very good relationship with my grandmother. Yes, we every day, not every day, but I remember going out after dinner, going out in our garden and looking at the stars and the moon. And he told me stories about her when she was a little. And I was fascinated listening to her. And that is why I remember my time spending with her. And when I arrived here in the Berkshire, my first job was to take care an old lady. I was happy to meet this woman, the woman I work for. And well, and she's a journalist. She likes to tell stories. She has every story to tell because she was a journalist of the New York Times, and she was also anthropologist. And she, every time in the morning when we have breakfast, we just spend a little time after breakfast, and she's telling me stories about all the civilizations, about the human nature, about all of that. That is very interesting, and I am learning a lot with her. And I love to be with her. She reminds my grandmother, no? And that is why. And now, when I met her, her husband was sick, Alzheimer, and now he is dead. And now we live just two of us. And we go to the movies, we go to the theater, to the opera, and to the movies. And every day at dinner, we have dinner together.
I was so interested, I just wanted to hear more. That was very good, very good. I mean, you are a storyteller. You're a storyteller, yes. That's a wonderful story to tell, is about the woman you, that's a really strong start for the story, for sure, yes. And the details of what you do together and her background as a journalist with the New York Times, all of that I have a very clear picture of her.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I don't know, many cultures, no?
Yeah.
This culture.
Yeah.
Her mother was Polish, her father was from Iraq, from Turkey, but she was born here in the United States. And she has family and friends from all over the world, and she taught me how to cook international food. So I learned a lot of
source for a story.
Really good job. What's her name?
Gloria.
Gloria. Gloria, sorry. Wonderful. ¿Quieres hablar en español? Para historias. Sí, okay. Okay.
Bueno, mi nombre es Bernardo. Tengo un hijo de 10 años. Creo que él ha sido muy inquieto desde antes que naciera, porque nació a los 8 meses. Y es muy inquieto, pero es muy buena persona, muy solidario. Él está en México ahorita. Me acuerdo, una de las cosas que mucho hacía al despertarse es ir a ver el amanecer. Le gustaba mucho ver el amanecer todos los días. Lo primero que hacía es ver el amanecer y luego me decía, vamos a ver el amanecer. A veces ya no tenía mucho tiempo porque estaban las carreras, pero es muy solidario. En la escuela me acuerdo que nos decían, es que él le compra a sus compañeritos pues algo que se les antoje, y él a veces se queda sin nada con tal de compartir. Y bueno, él es una de las personas pues muy importantes en mi vida. Pues ahorita no podemos estar juntos. Él vive con su mamá, nosotros somos separados, pero bueno, él es una de las personas importantes de mi vida. No, ahorita no recuerdo qué más decir. Así es.
Gracias. I didn't understand everything. No entiendo todos, pero mucho. Gracias. Sí. Does anyone want to point out in Spanish one of the details that seemed important in the story?
He was talking about.
Oh, I was touched.
Me too, yes.
Sí. I was.
Sí, emocionado.
What were you
Does
gonna say?
he live, él vive contigo aquí?
No.
Oh,
He was talking about his son.
10
and
years
he
old?
say, yeah, his son is 10 years old, but now his son live in Mexico
With his mother.
and
With
with
his
his mother, and he remember all time like his son loves look at the sunset every day.
No, sunset is a.
The sunrise?
The dawn.
Sunrise
The
in the
dawn.
morning.
Sorry,
Dawn? No.
Sunrise, sunset. Sun comes,
No,
sunrise.
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, dawn is the other one. Dawn or sunrise, same thing. Dawn, sunrise. Yeah.
sunrise, and say in the school, the teacher told to his parents he likes to share his lunch with his classmate, and he doesn't care if he don't have food for him, but
Share.
he's a lot of solidarity.
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 Oh.
Yeah, he's like, you touch my hair with your story.
He wanted to tell his story in Spanish.
You must
like
simultaneously.
Así es.
That's possible.
I mean,
So, but the
I
other
got
thing, so,
all
I know. However, I'm thinking as he was talking that it's really nice. I think it's good for the audience not to understand what's going on because that's his experience all the time. So I actually think it's a good thing for the audience not to always understand. Yes, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think obviously it wouldn't work for the whole storytelling, but I do think there's value in just, sitting there and not understanding what's going on because that's very much the experience of other people. So that's, I don't know, I think there's value in that. What do you think, Amanda?
If there were just one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, even though I only understood part of it, it was like, powerful. I could get clips of it. It was the emotion came through in the voice and, I don't know, maybe there's also a role for Aileen to do translating. Aileen, is that something you think is possible?
Did you hear that, Aileen?
I'm sorry, no.
Hi, I'm Amanda. Do you think it's possible to do some translating for Bernardo during the storytelling? Or do you think that would be?
During the actual, when he's telling the story?
Yeah, or after?
No, when Amanda is telling a story, then you can translate to.
No, he's.
Oh.
Afterwards. You're talking about at the event?
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to do it in English. That was his.
Oh, okay.
that was it. Which I think at
That's
this
very
point,
ambitious.
I will work with him. I see. And if he doesn't feel comfortable doing it, then we can do it that way.
Yeah, and I think in Spanish is perfectly fine.
That was-
Everybody
that
needs
was
to
one
learn
of
some
the
Spanish.
things that amazed me because I've only been working with him for maybe like 6 months. And when I asked him and I said it in English, he said, well, I'll try. And so I was just very pleased that he wanted to try to do it in English. I think he'll do okay. Yeah.
¿Quieres tentar en inglés?
Claro, ese es el objetivo, porque sería un buen reto para mí.
Okay. Tiene que. Claro,
Okay.
y cuando vences el reto, es súper.
Muy bien.
Very good. All right.
Falta compartir.
Sí, Víctor. Claro que sí.
No, pues ya representó.
Víctor.
The guys.
Milton, do you want to tell a story? You want to tell your story now? After somebody else? Oh. Milagro?
Milagro. Do you want to do names quickly? Just for the-
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sheila.
Nancy.
Leslie.
Jessie.
Bernardo.
Carol. Amanda.
Nice to meet you.
So we've got Nancy, still has to tell a story.
They're also good.
Would you like to tell your story now?
I guess. I
Yes,
will.
please do.
All right. Well, okay.
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 Okay, go ahead.
My father probably was the most important person in my life and still is. At the age of 77, I still think about what would Daddy do? He was an unusual parent, not the typical parent. An example is when my sister and I would do something we shouldn't have done, our mother would want us to be spanked. Well, he didn't believe in that, but rather than have an argument with her, he would take us into the bedroom, roll up a newspaper and hit the end of the bed and say, now yell.
Oh.
That sounds like he was really spoiling us, but it was keeping peace. It was his way of showing us that what we had done was wrong, but we still knew that he wasn't going to spank us when he didn't believe in it. He also had a voracious desire to learn new things. He was a chemist, and when my son was learning chemistry in college, he would sit down at the dining room table with him and say, show me the periodic table. And he would show it to him and he'd say, this whole row is new. That wasn't there. Those chemicals weren't discovered when I was in college. And that was true. My daughter would come home from college and she was in the stage of wanting to paint her fingernails all the time. He didn't really have an, well, I think he did. And he would sit down and ask, well, what do you do? What layer do you put on first? Then what? Then what? Everything was important to him. Nothing was beyond him. And he was really very, very kind. That's it.
Excellent.
And he was tall.
Yeah, I noticed all the stories were about short people.
Tall and thin. Yes.
Oh, and thin. So did you understand the story? When the parents wanted to punish her, he, instead of actually hitting her with something, he would pretend to hit her. He would, right? He would make the sound so that the mother thought that he was hitting her, but actually he was not hitting her. That's a very, very telling detail. Like that's a really wonderful, like people will remember that detail. So you have a really good sense for detail. Yeah.
He was also a Girl Scout leader.
Oh.
So,
That's lovely. I love your dad. He's just a nice guy. Yeah.
Well, I have a
Gentle.
question for you.
Yes.
So when you start talking on the storytelling, how do you do to avoid the past, like I was? Because that's very important, right? If you
Verb tense?
Avoid the
Yeah,
past?
because
You don't have to avoid the
No,
past.
you don't
No,
have
of
to.
course not. No.
it doesn't, yeah, when you say a story, it's not better to say like using present.
No, it doesn't
No?
matter.
It doesn't
So,
matter?
for example, a lot of stories are, my father is present tense, and then in the middle of the story, you say, one day he was, and so you can go present and then change to past in the middle of the story. Does that make sense? In fact, the story that I'm going to play for you, that's what happens. No, actually, he says, the story I'm going to play is mostly past tense, almost all in the past tense.
And for this exercise, I think it depends on if the person is alive or not alive.
Yes.
In Nancy's case, her father is no longer alive, so it's past tense. But Bernardo's son is still alive, so I think he was speaking in present tense.
So depending on the story.
It depends on
It
the story.
depends, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think too, with the time you have, that's something, you know, at first you wouldn't have to worry about too much. I think just getting the story down, what you want to
Yes.
tell, and that's something you can practice more over time.
Yes. What you want, the only thing that's important is you tell a story that is important to you. It's important to you. And if it's important to you, then the audience will think it's important also. Yeah. Okay. Milagro, you want to try?
My question is.
Yes.
Can they talking about my person, for example, my daughter and I, or I can talk about with
So
some. I'm growing up with my grandfather.
The assignment was to talk about an important person in your life. So you tell a story about your grandfather.
I grew up with them, but Yes, I
Okay.
always remember them.
Okay, do you want
I'm
to
not
stand up and
sure-
start
I'm
your?
not sure.
Yeah,
what-
start talking. Just do it. This is a safe place.
You're from,
El Salvador.
una vez que empiezan ya, se van los nervios. Así, a mí me pasa así.
Yeah, but then sometimes worse in English.
Yeah, but don't worry, don't worry. You can say also, you know, just say the word in Spanish or don't worry. It's okay. Go ahead.
In Spanish, I have. Yeah, my name is Milagro, and I'm from El Salvador. I'm going in El Salvador with my grandparents. They was very good with my sisters and I. And then my grandmother, she was always encouraged us to learn something new, different thing. And then I remember, and that's is I always continue. I'm not old, but I continue to learn different, for example, different language or different activities, and then I encourage to my daughters, and I say I'm proud with my daughters. We went to El Salvador last 2 weeks ago, and I didn't know they gave me a present for my birthday, a ticket to go there, and we was enjoy. And but when I was there, I went to my town and I growing there, and I say thank you God, but there gave me a very strong decision or opportunities to growing, and then I help them to they're very good. They born in New York. Both my daughters, one is very nice.
2 minutes.
Oh. Very thankful right now.
Oh,
but-
yes.
We are,
We need,
And
to,
I
yeah,
and can
you have to wait.
it's okay.
do much.
It's okay.
That happens a lot with love stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very moving to the audience, but I want to.
Yes, that is and I say thank you, my teacher, and I continue to learn with classes
Yeah.
online with BCC
Good for you, yeah.
and yeah. but
Yeah. Your,
I'm
so you,
most-
in your story, the word that was the most, what was the most important word? One word, most important word in her story? I thought it was encourage. She said encourage. My grandmother encouraged me, encourage. You use that word many times. That's an important word.
Yes.
Yes,
An opportunity.
an opportunity to.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. So that's it's a story about your grandmother would be about encouraging.
But I'm confused, a little confused
Yes.
about this. I
Yeah.
didn't know, I didn't prepare.
Nope, no, there's no, no
No
preparation. No, no preparation.
This is a.
Yes.
Surprise. You know?
Yes, yeah, I understand, yeah. But yes, so good stories are surprises. You understand? Good
Yeah.
stories are surprises. If it's something that you know and you expect, it's boring. It's not a good story. It's not something that's going to touch our hearts.
Yes, but I think for us, for Spanish
Yes.
speaker, we need to
Prepare.
prepare
Mm,
with words.
I see.
with,
Yes, yes, I get it.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, this is the place to practice. This is not a performance. This is practice. Yes, yeah. What's that?
We are in confidence.
In confidence, yes. No one is going to share. We will not share what
is in the room. Yeah.
And people will have a story that they work on.
Yes. So yeah, that's the next thing, which, Amanda, do you want to tell a story? Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Milton, do you want to tell yours? Are you ready?
If you want.
You can, you don't, and Milton, you do not have to talk for 2 minutes. You can talk for 1 minute. It's okay.
Okay, I was having a hard time, you know, so, a friend of mine was in Kiliska, in the hospital, and I didn't know where he was, in the hospital, so my friends told me that he is in the cafeteria, so I went there, and there was a organ in the corner, and I asked him if he can teach me that. He said that I'll teach you that. He's doing some modeling. He probably was in the 94 maybe. And he said, well, if you want to learn how there will be some rules, and I will train you. Okay? And he told me the rules, and he told me the rules, and I can teach you anymore. Okay, he trained me for, I don't know, 3 years. And I remember sometimes, you know, it's like work with them. It's in the morning, he used to train me on the table to exercise in math. And, you know, I in the morning usually without in the here we breakfast, and he used to feed the table. He said, you gotta pay attention. And, you know, you gotta pay attention. And then he went to the bathroom. The doctor and the nursing goes over there and said, listen, you don't have to do it. You know, you can go. We said, no, it's okay. And when he come out, he said, see, this is the lesson you learn. You have to deal with it. And, you know, we all kids, you have to learn to deal with pressure. That's how it's life. And one time, you know, he got sick. And he said, are you okay? And he said, you know, and he didn't have that. Yeah, you can, you have to, you can, you have to, it's a point that you can't change anything. And that's what I'm talking
Oh, Jesus. Very good. Very good. So was that here or where are you from? It was here. Is he still alive? Oh, okay. Yeah, he had cancer.
Yeah, and then eventually you guys saw your
That's a very good story.
So were you working in the hospital?
Yeah. No. So why were you in the hospital? That was not clear. Okay. Wait, go. So the tutor works in the hospital? Yes. Yes. He would do math in the hospital. Why? He would go to the cafeteria in the hospital to do math. Okay.
That's weird.
Okay. So that's a weird detail. Yes, I know. So, but, okay, but that is, yeah, maybe, who knows? So, but we will work, I would love for you to tell this story at the event in the summer. It's a wonderful story. Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. It's already.
So peculiar. You know, we're like, this man is so
Yes.
strange.
I want to hear all about it. And your description of him is so good. You know, him slamming on the table and saying,
Full-time, part-time. He used to work, no, full-time. He used to work from 3 to 11. And sometimes, you know, it's bad. Because I got it, you know, I was one. Because, you know.
Yeah.
You pretend to be a smart. He's a professor. Yeah, and then you jump.
You pretend to be smart.
Yeah, you pretend to be smart. No, I know. He says it's not about getting the right answer, it's about seeing the
Oh my
process.
goodness, this is an incredible story. This is a really special story.
You were lucky to have that story.
Yeah.
It's a very important.
Well, for me.
Yeah, for you it's important. Yes. If it's
He's a
important, you are,
mathematician. For him, it's important precision,
Yeah.
rules, the process to
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, I remember the doctor used to come to me, you know, because usually in the morning, the doctor's parents in the cafeteria and the nurse used to come to me. You don't have to, you don't have to do that. And, you know, there is a time that you gotta say.
Did they think you didn't want to be there?
No,
You
because
chose to be there.
he didn't, imagine, you know, if you were in the cafeteria in the morning, it's a, everyone, it's full of people, it's like very crowded, and he did this. And yet, I jumped, and everyone jumped.
Yeah, they probably didn't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and then when he went to the bathroom, when he went to the bathroom, the other guys, you know, said, you don't have to put it in this. You can go.
this is the one, you can, this is a wonderful story. So I think we should work on it. Who is your tutor? Who is your LitNet tutor? Beth, okay, should get in touch with Beth. Okay, so I want to listen, what's the Wi-Fi?
You're 36, I think. Oh, wait,
Um,
no, sorry, it's the My Spectrum Wi-Fi. It's the one.
okay, it's not letting me get on. My Spectrum, Wi-Fi. 2G.
Yes, the 2G.
Doesn't matter, okay, and it's Eager Bike 422. Well, that was really wonderful. You all did really, really well. I mean, round of applause all around, really good job. I would like to play a moth story for you. Okay, so it's 4 minutes long, and as you will tell, the man is from he speaks in English, but he's from Nicaragua. So he has an accent, and I want you just to notice, what do you notice about the story? Okay, if you don't understand everything, it's okay. I can give you some, I can give you a little bit of a preview. He's telling a story. So he's now maybe 50 years old, 40 years old. He's telling a story from his childhood in Nicaragua. Okay, when he was a child, and something that happened that has always stayed with him, and he's never forgotten it. Okay, so your job is to figure out, why did this thing stay with him? Why can't he forget it? Okay, and that's a good story. It's a story. It's something, and this story is something that stays with me. I remember it, and you'll see why I remember it. Okay. Sometimes that.
So I was perhaps 16 years old living in Guatemala. That's where I grew up. I was
Guatemala, sorry, not Nicaragua.
My dad was an accountant. My mom, stayed at home, but she always, found ways of, making money, cooking or, sewing or doing something like that. So they always provided for us. But we didn't have like extra money for things that we wanted to buy, like allowance or something like that. So they encouraged us to find ways of getting money. You can wash a car, get at the grocery store or something like that. So the way I did it is I was very good in math, and so I became like a tutor for kids.
Math tutor.
That's how I made money. But of course, the money that I made was just for me. I didn't have to really use that money to help support my family or anything like that. So around that time, a lot of the gas stations very close to where I was living in Guatemala were changing. They started selling more American food. You know, they had these nachos with cheese, and they had these sodas and chips and all that stuff. And as a teenager, you know, in third world country, you say, "Oh, American food, you know, I have to try that." And of course, I had some money to do it. So one day, I saw that there was this gas station where they were selling these huge hot dogs, which I really liked. And so I said, I'm gonna go and buy one. So I went, and I didn't get one, of course. I got two, and they were huge, right? Big bun, sausage, chili, you know, the works, everything in there. And so came out of the store with, you know, one hot dog in one hand, the other one I started eating one. And as I was walking on the street away from the gas station, I saw this man coming towards me, and he was walking with a kid. He was perhaps, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. And as they approached and they went past by me, you know, the kid looked at me, and of course he looked at the hot dogs. And of course, from the way they were dressed, I quickly picked out that they were, you know, poverty-stricken family. They were poor, and most likely the kid was working with his dad, so he might be like his assistant or something like that. So the kid looked at me and said, "Wow, these are great. Where did you get them?" And I said, "Oh, you can get them at the gas station." So he looked at his dad and like, you know, "Can we get one?" And of course, and I just turned, you know, I looked at the dad, and the dad had this face, right? Like, you know, we cannot afford something like that. So at that point, I can assure you that I heard a voice in my head, you know, something like, "Come on, man, you know, you have two, right? You just need one. You don't need two. One is enough. Give one to the kid." And well, you know, I didn't do it. I just turned around and kept walking. But I can tell you that maybe there's something, you know, broke inside me, because that second outlet didn't taste as good as the first one. And I remember very clearly that I walked that street for maybe the next couple of days up and down at about the same time, just hoping to find the kid again, just, you know, making sure that I had another chance to do something that I knew I didn't do. But of course, you know, it didn't happen. And I realized that, you know, this was one of those, you know, random opportunities that you have that life gives you to assert yourself as a decent human being. And I clearly missed that opportunity that day. And it has haunted me the rest of my life. Thank you.
Did you understand the story? Yeah. So who is the character? The character, who is he? What do you know about him? So his family was middle class. They did have some money. So go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
But he did a lot of different jobs.
Yeah. What was the job that he eventually got to make money as a how old was he in the story? How old? He was 16. I think he said 16. Okay. So, and then he got a job as a math tutor. I remember it's a math tutor. Yeah. So he had extra money. Yes. And then so that's the background, the setting, like in a movie, you know, like the first part of a movie, it tells you where it is. It's the setting. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm not sure how you say it in Spanish. The place.
El contexto.
El contexto de la historia. Sí, that's the context. Okay. Then one día, and then he gets into the story. One day, he is walking down the street and he buys 2 hot dogs. Not 1, 2. Big hot dogs, chili, the works, everything, right? And he's walking down the street, and who comes walking down the street? And the little boy, and he's probably working with his father. Okay. And he sees the 2 hot dogs, and what's the obvious question? Yes. Will he share? And that's, so in the story, that's the moment of the emotion. That's if there's a little chart that shows how the emotion goes, it goes up, 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 and here's the top. Is he going to give his hot dog to the child? And then he says, he waits. I didn't do it. Does that make sense? Right? So the emotion goes up, up, up. I didn't do it. And then comes down. It creates, yes. It's like a movie where it's suspense and you, oh, what's going to happen next? It's like that. But in a story, 4-minute story. So you can do it in a story. The same thing. Does that make sense? You can create suspense. And that's what he did. And he did it by, so by the way, did he have a perfect voice for telling a story in English? No, he had an accent. He said and or he said, you know. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You understand? It's not perfect. He's not an actress. He's not, with perfect speech. It doesn't matter because his story is full of emotion. Does that make sense? Right? And it's so simple, but it stays with me. I remember the story because it's so, because how many, can you relate to this story? I can relate to this story. Like I have done, this has been me sometimes. I had a choice to be generous and I chose to be generous, or sometimes I chose not to be generous. So it's something that anyone can relate to. Does that make sense? Leslie? It's so there are some stories that not everyone can understand. Yes. If I tell you a story about I'm very rich and I live on my yacht, you know what a yacht is? Yes, I live on my yacht and the food was not delivered on time. Okay, can you relate to this story? No. Yes. Yeah. You got to know what?
Audience.
Oh, the audience, yes. Well, that's not necessarily true. A story like this, anyone can relate to. Yes. No, I understand what you're saying. I totally understand. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
But maybe it's not necessarily the context that has to be relatable, but the emotion. It's like the
Yes.
experience.
The emotion has to be relatable, and that can be relatable. I mean, that is a universal, yes. Yes. And your story is a story that anyone can relate to because you're describing a very interesting character. And he's interesting. Anyone can relate to that story and find him interesting and find your story interesting. There are some stories that are not relatable. However, I don't think. Yes. That's the point, is that the emotion is relatable to anyone. Yes.
I thought it was really important that he let the audience draw the conclusion instead of he doesn't say, oh, next time I was in this situation, I was generous. It was like, what he's saying, that he wandered the streets and so on, that this is sticking with him and giving the audience credit for figuring out what's the message.
That's a very good point. And that's difficult to do, is sometimes we want to give all the information, but not all the information is necessary. You only give the details that are necessary, and you can, the audience can make their own conclusions. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. Anything else you notice about the story that seemed important, or? What's that? Yeah. Did you understand this one? Yeah. Yeah, good. Good. There, if you like the Moss, it's a website. You just go on podcasts on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, sure. Sure. Jesse, would you explain that's sort of the outline of the story to Bernardo? Yeah, of this story, just like, yeah.
Este es un muchacho que cuando tenía 16 años de Guatemala, ¿no? ¿Guatemala?
Sí.
Guatemala. Y cuando tenía 16 años, sus padres eran de clase media, contador, y la mamá hacía queques, galletas, así para vender. Entonces, y él a esa edad también hacía su dinerito enseñando matemáticas a niños, y tenía su dinerito. Dice que un día él se va a la estación para comprarse 2 hot dogs, se compró 2 hot dogs, y al salir de la gasolinera vio a un niño que estaba con su padre, que eran trabajadores que, de acuerdo a cómo estaban vestidos, eran algo pobres, de clase no tan, de clase pobre, no tan acomodada. Entonces el niño le preguntó, ¿dónde qué bien se ven esos hot dogs, o qué rico los hot dogs, ¿dónde los has comprado? Ahí en la estación. Y entonces el niño miró a su padre diciendo, cómprame uno. Y él pensó en ese momento, ¿comparto? ¿Le doy uno o no le doy uno? Y dice que decidió irse y no le dio nada. Y después, cada vez que, después lo pensó, se arrepintió mucho, y cada vez que iba a la estación, él estaba esperando otra vez encontrarlos de nuevo para poder compartir. Y ese era su pesar, su esperanza de encontrarlos nuevamente.
Yes. Sí.
He has a question to help.
¿Nosotros vamos a escoger el tema o solo
Sí.
algún tema en específico?
Sí, para esta. Sí, sí. That's the next question. Es la pregunta, yeah, it's the next question. Sí. What did he say next? Próximo. Siguiente, la pregunta siguiente. Sí. La tema, sí. So, para esta, for this event, we should choose a theme, una tema, okay? What do you think?
Es libre, es tema libre, es free.
Well, we can choose it. We choose. I don't choose it. We can choose it.
But is the same for everyone?
Yeah, no, it should be the same for everyone. I mean, however, and you can explain this to Bernardo. Okay, so the theme, for example, rescate, rescue, you can fit your story into that theme. It's very easy to fit, like your story, you can fit into different themes. A story about your math tutor, I could give you 10 different themes. You could fit that story into all those themes. It's easy to do. 5 minutes. You have, well, no, 5. For me, I'm not like the moth. You can up to 8 minutes, like between 5 and 8 minutes. No? Yeah, there is a limit. So, but however,
It can be good in 4 minutes.
It can be good in-
And then you're not good anymore.
no, there's, my favorite story, Milton, my favorite story is 14 minutes long. I mean, if you have a good story, it can be 14 minutes long. Yeah, easily.
14?
Yes, absolutely. If you have a good story, it can be longer. Okay, but for our event, Milton, for this event, you should think about between 5 and 8 minutes. It's a good range. Okay?
I think so, like 5 minutes is a lot of time.
No, it goes fast. It goes fast.
Yeah.
For real.
It should
Yeah,
be
that's
an
about 4.5
interesting
minutes, yeah. But my favorite moth story is called Jury Duty, and it's 14 minutes long. And the momentum is so good. It just goes, and the time just flies by. Yeah. But I also have had events where someone, just got up there without practicing and talked for 20 minutes, and it was like torture.
What about the theme challenge or
Struggle or
persistence?
what's that?
According to our
Assistance?
situation,
Yeah.
we have immigrants, we have challenges.
Yeah.
We need persistence.
Persistence.
persistence to reach our goals. And every one of us has a story about that. All of us have, ¿no? Tenemos retos, nosotros inmigrantes tenemos retos. Un tema puede ser los retos, por ejemplo, y cada uno, o persistencia, o
How about asistente, help, help,
help.
help,
ayuda.
ayuda. I don't know. What do you think? Any, so it can be interpreted, se puede interpretar in así es, I speak Italian, en qualsiasi modo, in any way you want.
For example, for me, I'm very interested in about my history of
Yeah.
when I came
Yes,
here and talking how we improve in this country, and then we have a lot of opportunities, and how we can help other people to encourage, but sometimes they think, I don't know, that's not always.
Well, okay, no, I just thought of a theme as you're, and there's an expression in English, paying it forward. And what do you like to think? Paying it forward? To pay, to pay it forward is to reciprocate, reciprocar. Something good happens to you,
Something good, you make something good happen for somebody else.
to pay it, it's called to pay it forward. What do you think? For a theme?
That's a new one.
That's why you're just hearing what Milan
For me,
said.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's not a sounding
Yeah.
word, but like that, you could do so much of that.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to come up with a theme now. I think maybe we can think about it,
Well,
but I think it,
yeah,
go
but
ahead.
we need a setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Be paid forward.
I like
From
that.
his story.
Yes.
We want him to tell his story.
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I want him to tell his story.
Yes, I do.
So what would that be?
She told me that,
That could go under anything. That could go under, that could, I'm sorry, what was that?
she told me that I just can't hear the so.
He's saying he's not gonna tell a story, so now we need to convince him to.
Because that's an important story, not just for you, but for everyone.
See.
Because it shows that sometimes things that are really hard and people that are hard sometimes to
Get
deal
along with.
can be the most important people to you. That if it's easy, it's not, how much
You
you
don't
don't
learn.
learn so
You
much.
don't learn one.
You
See.
not only learned math from him, but you learned perseverance, you learned attention, you learned to really persevere through something difficult.
Discipline.
Even though people were saying, you stayed, and you benefited from that. So it's very, this
Yeah.
could be the same thing.
Es un acto generoso de narrar, de hablar, ¿cómo se dice? To tell your story, narrar.
Contar tu historia.
Sí, contar una historia.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm telling him that he, I mean, he, like, he should, in the spirit of hot dog, he should tell the story as an act of generosity, because.
They have to pay.
No, I didn't say that. You said. You said if I'm not going to be paid, you said.
I'm just kidding.
Paid, no.
Oh, I will pay you,
She was
okay.
so-
I will be
I just.
Yeah, is there gonna be food?
Yeah, there's gonna be food and wine and yeah.
Okay,
And so.
how do you, no, I came here to learn it. but
Yes.
How do you set up?
How do you?
The setup, how do you, your story is going to help you, you will choose a team.
Yes. So
What are the major points?
So.
Good question. You learned a lot from your tutor, from your mentor.
Why?
Well, what is,
It's an experience.
So Amanda, what's the next
What?
step in this?
Why?
I think he's asking what's the next step in our storytelling.
They want everything.
Oh, how many are we gonna meet between now and the event?
Yeah, so meeting, what do you think, 4 times between now and July? That's what you initially had thought.
Uh-huh.
That's too much.
Let's think about that. So we would meet some number of times between now and the event in July. to work on your story. So, por ejemplo,
Good.
Para la próxima vez, voy a choose,
Escoger, elegir.
okay, una tema, nosotros seríamos un tema. Okay, so we choose a theme. For next time, you choose your story or possible story. You do not have to be definite about your story. You can say, I'm thinking about this one, and we come back and practice again, okay? And then each of us gives you feedback, information to make your story better. We say, this was good. This part not necessary, you know? So we give very critical feedback, okay? And then from there, you build your story. The next time you practice again. I think maybe 3 times would be good because you need to do homework. You need to be, the homework is that you're going to be choosing your story, practicing it to yourself. For me, I practice my stories on my phone, on voice memos. Do you know voice memos? Voice memos. iPhones,
Listen to you.
I listen to me. I listen to myself. I record myself. Here, see, I'm recording. I record myself telling my story. One day in 2020, I was walking down the street and then I listen again and I say, okay, I like this part. I don't like this part. And then I practice it 5, 6, 8 times.
And how does it call?
Voice memos, voice memos. I can send this to you in an email. You can give it information. I can give you a bunch of information. Okay. Links for Moth stories and Spanish stories. Yeah.
Is the audience strictly other storytellers?
That's a good question. It's an open event.
Meeting house.
So it could be.
It could be anyone. Sí, Bernardo.
You
Sí.
No sé si estoy entendiendo bien. Que vamos a hacer como un bosquejo. Y
Para
ella lo va a revisar.
no, para la próxima
Ajá.
reunión vamos a elegir un tema. Pero
Oh.
también si tú tienes una historia que quieras compartir la próxima reunión, vamos a hacer críticas constructivas. Es decir, tú cuentas tu historia y todos vamos a decir, esta parte si la dejas, esta la quitamos. Que sea algo como que atrape al público, es algo.
Sí, sí, mi sugerencia es, no sería bueno definir ahorita el tema para con la próxima vez que nos reunamos, ya nada más sería como revisar y decir qué tal parece ese.
Ella dice que la próxima vez que traiga usted varias historias y entonces usted decide cuál es la que va a contar.
A lo que yo me refiero es que yo traigo varias, como 2 historias, ¿no?
Ajá.
Pero no va a ser el tema que se va a escoger.
Ajá.
Tendría que
He wants
para
to.
empezar a trabajar sobre eso, ¿no?
Sí.
He recommend if we can
Choose a
the
theme. Yes, yes,
today
yes.
because
Yes.
for example the next time we
Yes.
say is the funny stories and he bring just sad stories
So-
and no works.
Yeah. No, so funny is not a theme.
No, it's an example.
Yeah, no, I understand. But with a theme, you can have, with one theme, gratitude, you can have funny story, sad story, angry story. You can have all emotions in one theme. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What about,
Yes. Hello.
what about just the idea of obstacles? Because so many of the people that are gonna tell stories
Yeah.
have had to face
Yeah.
enormous obstacles to come to this country
Yeah.
and to persevere and succeed. And I can
Yeah.
just see from the people who are here, they've done an incredible job.
Yeah.
Obstacle can be something you overcome, you don't overcome. Something that brings you joy or brings you pain, so.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too wide. A topic.
No, I think that's,
Challenge.
yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, challenge, obstacles, it's the same thing. We can just choose that theme, obstacles. Fit-
Yeah, I think challenge is probably a better word.
Mhm.
I did too.
Yes.
Challenge, okay.
Negative connotative.
Right.
Connotation, you're right, yes.
Connotation.
Yes.
Because his challenge was math, but it wasn't unreachable.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like something in the way. And
Right.
so I think challenges would be the best.
That's a better word.
Mhm.
It's not such a negative connotation.
And just having one word, you think?
Yeah, so
We don't have to overcome the challenge.
No. can just be challenged. See, how do you say challenge in Spanish? What's the word?
Retos.
Retos. So la tema es retos. ¿Está bien? Yes. I mean, obviously.
Your son too.
Entonces, para la próxima clase traes historias relacionadas con retos. No solo
Retos que hayas pasado en tu país o aquí, o lo que piensas.
en toda tu vida.
¿No?
Pues el reto más grande yo creo que sería contar esa historia en inglés.
You said the biggest challenge would be telling a story in English.
Yeah.
That would be, oh my God, he'd bring the house down.
And
Bring the house down.
my challenge is to be in front of
That
the
would be
monitor,
the
the microphone.
How many people?
Well, depends. Just so many people are gonna come see Jesse, that that's.
Ah, exactly. That will fill the house.
Because she lives right near there.
Ah, okay.
And
Every-
we tutor in the library, so you're gonna be librarian.
All the neighborhood.
Everyone knows you.
My friends,
Oh.
they were-
That's great.
I know we don't.
Está
have
bien,
very much
Bernardo?
time.
I'm sorry, just 1 second. I just want, what? Continue? Okay.
Retos.
The
¿Te
retos.
parece o sugieres otro?
He likes that. Okay, good. Okay, okay. I'm sorry, Carol, go ahead.
Something I wanted to
Yeah.
share. is I just came back from Mexico.
Okay.
I've had one night at home.
Okay.
And while we were there in Oaxaca, there Roger the Jester was there. Because how many people do not know who Roger the Jester is? Roger the Jester. He performs at a lot of public events, like outdoor events.
As a clown.
As a clown, but he doesn't talk and he doesn't put makeup on. He just juggles but he does a lot of little tricks to entertain, especially children. And there was a whole group of people that were undocumented immigrants coming through Mexico, walking along the road, coming towards the United States. And he heard about it from someone who was providing food for them. So he went down there and we watched this. And he did a non-verbal performance. And at first there weren't very many people, then you saw more and more children sitting there. And what I wanted to relate was this one man was there. His child was about 11 or 12. And this man had the worst expression on his face, angry. He just was all
The father of the kid.
And the mother was there watching and she was laughing and the children were laughing. And the father went to the son and grabbed him and was saying something I couldn't hear and I couldn't understand, but something about his phone. And then they went to the mother. The whole time Roger is performing. Everyone's laughing. I took pictures, children just so happy. And the mother is fixing the phone. And the father started watching and you saw he was like, and then he was, and then he looked. It was so incredible to see how the magic of the performance changed his whole mood. And he went really from angry to happy in just a few minutes. It was so beautiful. I was watching him and not Roger. And then at the end, I told Roger what had happened, what I saw. And he said, if I can just do that, even if it's just for 1 minute in his life, 1 minute of his day, then I've been successful.
The next That could be your story. Yeah. Well, do you want, you could, absolutely, yes. Sure.
But that's what I'm saying, is that it's very important for people to hear your story.
Yeah.
Because it could be something that makes a difference for them.
Yeah.
Even if they're a tutor or they're a student, it applies.
Yeah. Good example. Okay, so our theme is,
You.
To translate.
Well,
it.
so let's,
let's-
after you can translate for him, but, so just because I have to go, it's 11:30, right? Yeah. So our theme is challenge, okay? And we will make a plan, like today is April 6th. So we will make a plan maybe to meet in May. The next time in May, okay? Is this time on Saturday is good time?
No,
No, good.
For me.
It's
I won't.
Milagro works every other weekend, so it would have to be on the weekend, you're not working, okay?
Saturday afternoon, because there's one learner who's
Yeah.
available Saturday afternoon.
That's fine with me.
Participate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Puede ser en la mañana.
Oh, it's
Sábado
so free,
en la
but it
tarde.
could be on the weekend that she's not working. So it could be morning. Okay, do you want to try to choose a day now that we're here?
I have a question.
Yes,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm coming home May 8th,
okay,
and I would be so great. if
Yes.
I could be in person.
fantastic. Let's aim for, can we aim for the weekend of May 11th, Saturday, May 11th?
Yeah.
Saturday, May 11th? Let's try to aim for that because I'm not around the next weekend, or the next weekend, but May 11th.
Okay. And I also had another question.
Yes,
My question for Bernardo, since the beginner,
okay,
and he doesn't have a great deal of vocabulary, because we're just working on the most basics.
right. He's going to tell his story in Spanish. Oh, okay, yes, okay, right, yes, sorry, yes, I forgot. Okay,
Sorry, I was a teacher, so, I just push. So, my idea is to write it out, work on that, and then he can memorize it, because I am not sure that he can generate, if he's doing it in English.
Yeah,
that he can just
yeah.
generate the language.
Yes, off the top of his head, I understand. Absolutely, sure. Whatever's going to work, whatever will work, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Go outside and enjoy the beautiful, warm, tropical air. Yeah, it's not a gorgeous day here.
It's
not a gorgeous day. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I taught my friends that snow and all.
Yeah, the snow's mostly gone, but it's still kind of cold. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah. Yes, I could do the May 11th. I'm open. Yeah.
Ustedes expliquen la historia de las. Las dos son buenas traducciones. Por favor, no sé, pero es después de las 3, 4. Sí, está bien.
Está bien.
Pero los demás.
Pero no pueden. Puede en la mañana.
Sábado, no.
In the morning.
Me too.
So what we'll probably have to do is switch up. Yeah, exactly. We'll have like, in May will be one group, in June will be, early June will be another group.
Okay.
That's okay.
So what do you say?
That you-
What do you say?
They're gonna switch.
We're going to, so I will meet with you
Sometimes
in
morning,
June and,
sometimes afternoon.
yeah, we'll have 2 more sessions and you will come to one and others will come to the other.
So we'll set up the next.
So what day is good for you?
Oh, for me, well, I said it was on Tuesday, but I'll figure it out.
Tuesday is best for you?
Semana en las tardes, yo no.
In the afternoon, sí, en la tarde.
After 4?
In-
I can after 4
We can after 4.
because I work up.
So.
Y el Tuesday
Después de las 4.
y tenga,
So,
So una noche.
Pues en la tarde.
Pero después de la.
No, por ejemplo, si es el martes o miércoles, no puede. Chido.
For me, just Saturday. Because I work in the evenings.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, everyone has a different schedule. Okay.
so it seems like, yeah, these Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
Every other Saturday. And
So we can-
Ashley can do Saturday afternoons. Who's the other?
Okay. So we'll bet on May 11th and then make a subsequent day to catch
Milton for sure.
Okay.
Okay, what time?
Yo por-
on the 11th.
morning.
I'm completely open, so you just, if you can check and just see what the majority rules.
En la
Okay.
mañana o en-
Ahora pregúntale
Tengo todo
a
el
ella.
día.
Tú puedes en la mañana y sábado en la mañana.
En la tarde.
No, yo no puedo, yo veo el Saturday. I have a.
Pero en la mañana o en la
Yeah,
tarde
en
o
la
en
tarde.
cualquier
En la
hora.
mañana, sí.
Cualquiera.
Yeah.
Y tú eres una buena tarde.
Sí, ya está bien. La mayoría gana.
Ay,
No, todos está bien. Yo voy a hablar. Joder.
he said everyone having the Saturdays on
Morning.
the afternoon.
I will figure it out. Yeah, I can do it.
Él va, he checked his schedule.
Yeah,
He
because
checked your
everyone-
schedule with the
She
lady.
can,
No, he's
she's a
saying.
Saturday good. She's Saturday good. She's Saturday good. So
Mhm.
that's
So
fine.
maybe you're Saturday,
You know, yeah, you work. You can try
Fair,
this.
But
Yeah.
I heard it on my box.
Okay, but you're here today, yeah, you took today off?
Today was different.
Today was different. Oh, okay. That's very mysterious. You don't really need the class.
He doesn't know that he's.
No, he doesn't.
I want
know.
to remind you what time on Saturday.
If I am not.
Yo trabajo expulsado todo el día. Así es.
The whole day. Okay, so the 11th is when you have off.
Tipo 9.
No, vas a levantar a los
Yeah, today.
Se levantan a las. Bueno, sí, no se tiene que levantar a las 6 de la mañana. Por nosotros.
So she would not be off the 11th. The 11th she would be.
Porque yo me hago todos los días.
Yeah, okay.
Eso es lo que falta.
What is it?
Ah.
May 4th?
Si te parten los veranos, tú sabes. Aquí en.
So could we do May 4th, Saturday?
Sí.
Is that too soon?
That's fine with me. She's not coming back until May 8th. I mean.
Oh, right, okay.
Before.
So we could go to May 18th then.
I can't, I'm no way that weekend. I couldn't be here.
If you want to do it before, I can always zoom in.
Okay.
I mean. if you
Yeah.
don't-
Okay. We might have to go with May 4th.
What time?
3:30?
3:30 May,
Yeah, yeah.
3:30 May 4th.
El 4 de mayo a las 3:30. Guardar.
Gracias para venir. Soy muy contenta que tú eres con nosotros.
Estoy contento de estar aquí con ustedes.
Okay, I'll send out an email just to follow up with links, information, next meeting, but May 4th, 3:30 here. This works a good place for everybody?
Ya, que ese es el lugar que hay para ti.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you in May.
Thanks, Aileen.
¿Todo bien?
Do you want